Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Welcome to the Money Tip Podcast, presented by Fully Funded Life. My name is Joseph Sangle. We are fired up to come to you on Monday. What day is it?
It is August 15th.
August 15th. That's the voice of Whitney Purcell, my long-term interim co-host, standing in for Megan Hibbert, she's out for a little bit, extended while she is raising up her new little twin boys. We hope that she'll be back by the end of the year. But Whitney, thank you so much for standing in.
Yeah,
you fired
I'm
up
glad
about
to be
that?
here. I'm excited.
You're an excellent co-host, and we're on episode number what?
215.
Episode number 215. Episode 215 on August 15th.
There we go.
I like
Lined
that.
up perfect.
You're doing good today?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
It's awesome.
Yes.
We're, as always, on this Monday, we come to you with tips. That's why it's called the Monday Money Tip. So the tips are about money. And our goal is to give you tips that are right now relevant to help you, your family, make progress with their finances. Today's going to be an awesome, interesting topic. And what is that?
So this is continuing on with our You Asked For It series. And our topic is, how can a child or a teenager make money?
Yes.
I think this is a great one because it's right at back to school. You know, some of the people in Georgia, neighboring state, have already sent their kids back, but a lot of the kids here and then where I live in Kansas are headed back this week to school. So as they head back to school, there's lots of wants that they think are needs. So maybe it's time that
they're going to learn what all their friends got over the summer, and they're going to want to make some money.
Yeah, so they can get a
J-O-B. Yes. So we're going to talk about type 1 income today. If you hear us talk about oxen, we talk about type 1 income, which is income you work for. And then type 2, that's income you don't work for. That's oxen. And so today we're going to talk about that. You work equals get paid money. Don't work equals don't get paid money type of income. That's going to be awesome. But before we dive in all that, we're going to go to our current event section. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
The Monday Money Tip Podcast is sponsored by the Fully Funded Life Membership Program. The Fully Funded Life Membership Program provides all you need to begin winning with money and live a fully funded life. Fully Funded Life includes 4 key components: courses, challenges, coaching, and community. Courses provide financial education. Challenges help you make massive progress in a specific money skill. Coaching is provided by the Fully Funded Life certified coaches through open office hours held multiple times each month. All of the courses, challenges, and coaching results in an outstanding community that help equip, motivate, and encourage you to take your next financial steps toward your fully funded life. Fully Funded Life. Courses, challenges, coaching, community. All that's missing is you. Learn more and receive a special offer for Monday Money Tip listeners today at fullyfunded.life/MMT. That's www.fullyfunded.life/MMT. All right, for today's current money events section, we are going to to some great news. And since we're talking about Utes,
Yes.
Do you remember that movie?
No,
Utes?
I don't think I do.
You two Utes. You can't name that?
No, I can't.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
some of you know what it is, and if you're on YouTube, you can comment on what movie I'm talking about.
Now I'm
It's
curious.
about somebody's cousin.
Oh, man.
Okay, so this news is amazing news. I looked it up. It says, I'm a Toys R Us kid, right? You remember that?
Yes.
And they have the little draft. Well, here is the headline. Toys R Us is coming back. Soon it'll be almost everywhere. Isn't this awesome? So this is by Rami Shah Muraf, CNN Business, July 18th, New York CNN Business. Here's the article. Once left for dead, Toys R Us is making a major comeback. The toy store brand will be just about everywhere for the holidays.
Really?
Toys R Us will be in every U.S. Macy's in the next few months.
Wow.
Part of an extended partnership with the toy retailer's parent company, WHP Global. The toy stores will range in size from 1,000 square feet in smaller locations to up to 10,000 square feet in flagship Macy's in Atlanta, near us,
there you go.
in Chicago, Honolulu. I need to go personally see it in Honolulu, Houston, LA, Miami, New York, and San Francisco. The Toys R Us footprints may expand during the peak holiday season. Stores will be open beginning in late July through October 15th. Macy's plans some customer-friendly perks, including demonstration tables for new toys and a life-size Jeffrey the Giraffe photo op.
Fun.
Get fired up.
That's awesome.
The once storied toy store went bankrupt and closed all its stores in 2018. It's attempted several unsuccessful comebacks via various owners, but Toys R Us got a new lease on life last year thanks to Macy's partnership, when the two companies agreed to sell toys on Macy's website and open shops within shops at 400 department stores. Toys R Us products have been available on Macy's website and toysrus.com since August. WHP Global bought the toy retailer from True Kids Incorporated, which took over the failing brand in a liquidation sale. True Kids had opened stores in New Jersey and Texas, but it closed them in 2021. Why? Because of the pandemic. Both Macy's and Toys R Us have been hurt by shifting consumer habits and competition for big box retailers such as Target and Walmart. I would also say Amazon.
Yeah.
But Macy's had a turn of fortune in recent months, outperforming the competition. They said in their first quarter earnings report that its toy sales were 15 times higher than the comparable period prior to the partnership.
Wow. Maybe after the pandemic and everybody being kind of closed down and in there, they want to get back to something that feels nostalgic.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've grown up at any point and you probably were in Toys R Us.
So where did you look at toys? There was Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, I think.
And there was KB.
We didn't have KB where I lived.
Don't you remember KB?
No.
In the mall?
No,
Man, it was loaded with toys.
We went to Toys R Us all the time. So now, too, I've got young kids, and a lot of times, Target has started putting out their little magazine at the holidays and stuff. But there's just something different about getting to go in and, let the kids see all the toys, and it's this big, huge section. So maybe they're kind of trying to capitalize on that. And
wow.
Put them in for the
It
holidays.
sounds like it's going to work on you.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
Maybe.
You sounded nostalgic right there.
There you go.
So this is the Monday Money Tip Podcast, bringing you real news of current money events. And so I wanted to bring you this news. I was so excited. Jeffrey the Giraffe is back. And so maybe you comment on YouTube. Are you going to go to a Macy's and check out Toys R Us and let your kids be a Toys R Us kid? Get fired up. That's it for today's current money events. I'm a Toys R Us kid edition.
Yes. So today's success story is from Robert and Amber, who are making their money work for them. They said, "We set up the direct deposit for our tithe and savings the day after attending the FLE. Upon doing this, we found out that Amber had enough points on her credit card that we received a $200 gift card from Walmart. Free money," they said. "Also, we set up a high-yield savings account that will be making us money every month. The biggest thing with our budget that we set up is that we should always, almost all of our debt paid, except our house and one car. They'll have $10,000 in savings." And this is only for this year. So they made all of that progress in 1 year. To say we are excited is an understatement. We knew we could do this and should have done it long ago. You were just the fire that prompted us to start. With the greatest enthusiasm, we want to say thank you and God bless.
Wow.
So
Robert and Amber
got fired up.
That's awesome. They did get fired up. They caught some of the flame get fired up. And that's what we want everybody here at the podcast to do it. And I see several things that I want to point out here. Number one is they automated the important. They automated their giving. Yep. They automated their savings. And you can do that when you have margin.
Yes.
I find that when you achieve somewhere between rung 3 and 4, that's when people start automating things, and they're able to do so with great confidence because they have margin. And then they found out that they're getting points on their credit card. Well, hopefully they're paying it off every month. Sounds like they are.
Yep.
And then they set up these savings accounts. That's going to make them money. And then they set up a plan to pay off all their debt. So they're working on rung number 4, and they'll have close to $10K in savings.
Yes.
Woo!
That's a lot.
And
So
that's just
great.
in a year. So here's what I would just say to Robert and Amber and anybody who's listening. It's amazing. I've heard this statement so many times. We overthink what we can do in a day and underthink what we could do in a year.
Oh, that's a good
And that's so huge. You know, we try to solve it all in a day, but just take one bite at a time. Hey, one Monday at a time with the Monday Money Tip Podcast. Who knows? You could be writing us a success story here in the next year. And so we know this podcast is powered by your success. We are fully energized now. So let's start teaching
Yes,
the
awesome.
You Asked For It series.
Yes.
Repeat what we're answering today.
So we are answering the question, how can a child or teenager make money? So this sounds like a parent that went to the FLE and they're like,
There we go.
I need to get the kid off the paycheck.
Yeah, that's right. And I love this. I like teaching kids both ways to make money. to let their money make money through investing, but also how to earn money. I want them to be productive citizens and not connected to my payroll forever.
Yeah.
Permanent removal from my payroll. And man, I've got my firstborn fully off the payroll. She's independent. Now, listen, she's born independent. She's now totally independent, including financially independent. And so now I can say successfully, I've got one of my three off the payroll. For some reason, the 12 and the 8-year-old think I should still be paying something for them.
Yeah, that makes sense, maybe.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about ways that kids can make money. Now, we're going to talk about different ages.
Yeah,
right?
So we kind of broke it up, and we're trying to think about young children and then preteens and teenagers, because what makes sense for younger kids doesn't make sense for teenagers.
Okay, so I'm going to add one slot right before that.
Okay.
Babies. How can babies make money?
I don't know.
Well, babies can make money by becoming the Gerber baby model.
There you go.
I have had people who sell hair bows, those cute bows that cover their whole head, or little dresses, and they have their baby be a model. Well, that baby can earn wages for being the model. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So they can start as a baby. So if you've got a little business or something like that, or you've got a photography business, you're taking pictures of your kids, you can compensate your children for being that model.
They may not be the earners that the Olsen twins were. But
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mary Kate.
Maybe.
Yep. Okay. So babies is one way. Now let's go to young child. They're up on their wheels, they're running around.
Yes. And so this, I think, is a good one. I've got 2 young girls, and when I'm looking at helping them make money, it's not so that they can subsidize, regular expenses or those things, but this is to kind of help them start to see that they can pay for some of their own wants. Okay. Or that they can start saving for themselves. Yeah. So the first one that we had was an allowance. And I think this kind of breaks down into different schools of thought. So different people may say, I expect my kids to do chores and they don't get paid. Or they may say, I want my kids to do chores and I'm happy to pay them to keep them consistent in that. Did you guys do an allowance for the kids?
No, well, we adopted Dave Ramsey's language, a commission.
Oh, okay.
So they earn this commission for doing certain activities above and beyond.
Yes.
And so we've actually shared this on a podcast recently about this app called Greenlight, which has allowed us to bring it to the 21st century. And I love it because I have a parent account on the app, and then the kids are individually logged in with their own. And so they've got their own device, which is my old iPhone that I've handed down to them. And as soon as we have a meeting that says, and we can assign different activities, and they can be one-time or repetitive ones, and then their compensation's tied to it, and they can check off that they've done it, and then it will automatically compensate them once a week.
Yeah, that's
which I like. And they can put it in different buckets. So they can put it in spending, and they can put it in different savings accounts. They can even invest it.
Really?
And what I really love is they get a debit card with it. And so the debit card, we customize ours, costs us $10. So the vanity thing. So my son's has a picture of our golden retriever, Ginger Justice, on it. Cute. And my daughter is dressed up as a unicorn on her inline skates in hers. And so whatever's in the spending account can actually be spent on the card. But the savings can't be attached to it. And so we keep the spending at zero until they're actually going to buy something that me and mom approve of. And then we move over that amount and they swipe it.
That's a great idea.
Pretty awesome. I like it a lot.
That's awesome.
But they earn chores. So let's name some of the activities they do. Share some of the activities your kids have earned or can earn money.
Yes. So what we did, and you kind of hit on this, we have expected chores that they don't get paid on, which are things like picking up their clothes and putting their dirty clothes in the bin, and making their bed in the morning and that kind of stuff. Brushing their teeth, getting their backpack and that kind of stuff. Just normal, like, hey, don't leave your shoes all over the place kind of stuff. But we've paid for things like yard work, where it's like we're outside and there's weeds all over. It's like, okay, you can get, I think when we were living here, there were those big burly weeds that were kind of hard to get. We're like, okay, 10 cents a weed. You can come over and do that. So a lot of times it'll be like above and beyond chores. But yard work's one, special projects around the house or something like that. Yeah, when I was a young child, my dad was a hobby farmer is what they call it now. We farmed about 80 acres, and we had a type of burr called a cockaburr. And if you've ever dealt with them, they have, basically Velcro was invented out of them because they had the curly things that hook onto things.
and they would just take over our soybean fields. And so my dad would literally pay us a penny a weed. And we would go out with machetes and cut weeds in the cool of the morning, dew everywhere, we'd get soaked, and we'd hack weeds. And you can hack 100 weeds really fast and you get $1. And we hacked so many weeds one summer, me and my brother were able to combine our money and buy a motorcycle.
There you go.
And you think about it, it's green. We weren't spraying a synthetic, weed, remover. And you know what? It was we felt like we were accomplishing something, which we were, and we earned money. I look at my daughter, one of the things that I like to do each year with my garden is grow something I've never grown before. Mm-hmm. So 3 years ago, I bought, there's a store that I wish, please, if you're listening, Rural King, please come to Anderson, South Carolina. Please, I will become your #1 advertiser. But Rural King, if you've never been there, it is Tractor Supply times 20. The closest up in the upper Midwest is like Fleet Farm. It's incredible. Anyhow, my mom knows that I love this place, and there's one near where they live in Indiana. And so I get a Rural King gift card every Christmas, and I go buy some seeds with it. And they have unique seeds, and I bought birdhouse gourds.
Yep. And
so I grew them. And man, in South Carolina, they grow amazing. And they grew everywhere. I've had this garden that's like, I thought it was a big garden, 25 by 50 feet, but it grew out the garden, up the fence, up all my other things. And it seems like nothing will kill it, nothing will harm it. And it produced, I had 70 or 80 huge gourds, beautiful gourds. And so I dried them out, and then we bought a hole saw and put a hole in them. Mm-hmm. And then I watched some YouTube videos, which is how everybody becomes an expert. And we ended up painting them, and they're beautiful. And we sell them, me and my youngest daughter. And so the last 2 years, I haven't had to plant them because the seeds have plotted up at random. Volunteer seeds is what we call them. Mm-hmm. And I got like 100 last year. And I just looked out in the area, and they're growing again this year.
Oh, man.
And so I'm so excited. So some other ways that we've made money is, my son mows lawns.
Yeah. My brother actually mowed lawns, and it started off with kind of like a little side hustle. And then he figured out they had a connection with a local business owner. So he purchased a riding lawnmower and negotiated to do their lawn.
Oh, so, that's great.
That kind of jumps ahead into preteen.
Well, let's finish up the young child.
Yeah, let's
rattle off some other ways that younger children, or what age group are we looking at? 9, 10?
Yeah.
Single digits age.
Yes, single digits. So, helping with family and friends. I was telling a story to somebody about how, if you're from the Midwest, you may be familiar with the trees that drop hedge apples. It's not an apple. It's this big green,
nasty, looks like a brain.
Yeah, it looks like a brain, but it's
a yellow brain.
It's like a sphere, and it's green. And
they're huge.
Good for nothing. So
you can throw them at each other if you're a young male.
My grandpa had them all over his yard, so he would pay us to come over, and we'd put them in a wheelbarrow so he could take them and dump them somewhere, because you have to get rid of them, pick them up, or else they destroy your lawn.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good one. So maybe it's something like you have a tree that spits out some kind of garbage that you need to get rid of.
I paid my daughter to pick up pine cones here in the South.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So helping with yard work is a great one, and that could be you or a neighbor or family. Another one is a lemonade stand or a bake sale. I know that's kind of...
I love that. That's cute. That's the beginner.
Yeah, that's the beginner, the first one. And I think that's too, they may not make a lot of money, but it's a great experience for you guys to do that together.
Yep.
It could be pet sitting or dog walking.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I'm sure when you've been doing some traveling this summer, you had to have somebody to come and take care of...
I paid people to pet Ginger Justice and feed my chickens.
Yes.
We've paid people to come water flowers.
Yep.
The neighbors have paid for my son to come over and check on their flowers and check on their puppies.
Yeah, so that's a great one, because that also helps the neighbors. Instead of paying, a service or to board the dog, you're going to get a better deal there. It teaches the kids some responsibility. You get to partner with them in doing that. So we know some of these will take some of your time, but it's teaching them responsibility.
Yeah.
Another one that we talked about was selling something they've crafted. So more and more you're seeing like Etsy stores or Instagram stuff where young kids are, they start making bracelets or they do something like that, and then they sell them online. So if your kid is into that and they enjoy it, maybe look into doing something on Instagram and helping them figure out how to turn their hobby into a side hustle.
Yeah, and I like connecting it to goals. We always talk about setting goals at rung one of the ladder. You have to talk with your child saying, what are your goals? And their goals are different than yours and mine.
Yeah.
Right? My daughter's goal is to be able to buy, this upgrade package on this app that I don't even comprehend what's going on. Yeah. But it's a special furniture thing on Toca World or something. And she's got money that she's earned, and she'll bring me $2 and say, can I have that? And it's $1.99. And so she buys it. But I make them pay up for it because that's what fires her up.
Yeah.
And so I'm like literally paying for nothing. It's virtualness, but she loves it. Now they grow up and they get bigger wants and needs.
Yes.
And so they're preteens, early teenagers. Let's talk about ways they can make money.
Yeah. So one that I did a lot as a preteen and teenager was babysitting. And I think, you can do the normal babysitting where it's like, hey, connect with local families and do that. My sister and I got the entrepreneurial spirit, and we decided we were going to establish a babysitting camp. So we reached out to a whole bunch of families that we had been babysitting for, and we said, hey, this summer we're going to hold, 3 or 4 camps at our house, and it would be a week long, and it would be from like 8 to, I think, 2 in the afternoon. My mom was there. She agreed to kind of be upstairs and do that. We planned activities. We had color sheets. We had snacks for them. The kids brought their own lunch. And what we did was we just reached out to the families that we were already babysitting for and did that. And we made good money. And looking now as a parent, I'm like, that was cheap babysitting for them and good money for us.
And how many kids did you end up come to camp on average?
I think on average it was like 10 to 12 a week, which
goodness.
is, and so we had a basement in the Midwest.
Your mother is a saint.
She is. I look back and I was like, she was so great. I mean, she just popped in to make sure.
But I love it.
Yeah, so we did that. And then both of us did a lot of babysitting, and then I nannied later on, so did she. And that was a great way for us to make money. And it's perfect when you're a student and can kind of.
Yeah, I was just in Michigan, and one of my brother-in-law's friends let us park our boat at his dock. It was the only way you can be on the lake is knowing somebody.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I've let our nanny know, that you guys can come in, change, use the bathroom, things like that. And I walked in and she had to be like 13, but she was there with their 2 kids. Yeah. And she's earning money.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
And when you get older and you nanny, like the older teenagers and stuff, my sister actually got invited on vacations with families that she nannied for because they had so many kids. They're like, come along, because we know a vacation without a nanny is really just a trip to a different location.
My bride was a nanny on Long Island at age 19 for a family. And the baby boy that she nannied has now married one of the Kennedy's daughters. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. So she made money that way and made some unique relationships.
Yes.
So, Keaton mowed lawns this summer. And what I think is really interesting, to do that, the reason he did that is he's in Boy Scouts. And one of the things for rank advancements, there's 7 different ranks in Boy Scouts, ultimately culminating in Eagle. But one of the things is they have to identify an item they would like to have, and then discover how much it costs and do the research, and then put together a plan on how they're going to get the dollars for it.
That's great.
And so he's got a gift with music, and he has a basic intro electric guitar, the one with the little tiny amp and everything. And he has had his eye at the guitar shop on this one guitar, and it's not a cheap guitar. And he said, that's what I'm going to set my eye on. And so he put together a plan, and you don't have to buy it. You just have to have the plan. And then whether or not you achieve it doesn't mean the rank advancement isn't dependent on it. Well, he got after it. He started mowing our lawn. He would mow my daughter's lawn at her house. He sold a Nintendo Switch on eBay.
There you go.
He sold some other stuff. And at the end of the day, he got the money. And then I was so proud of him. He waited for a couple months because he's like, man, that's a lot of money. Do I really want it? So he kept looking at it. And after this summer was ending, he was like, I want it.
Yeah.
And so we went over to the store and he picked out 4 or 5 different ones in addition to that one to try out. and he came back to that one. That was the one. Of course, the amp they plugged it into wasn't that little amp. It was a really nice amp.
I'm sure.
So now he has his next thing he wants.
Yes.
But, at the same time, my little girl, we have another way that we compensate, and that is through grades. So if you get straight A's in a 9-week period, we have 9-week periods, you get a $20 bill. If you get straight A's a whole year, you get a $100 bill. And she got straight A's all year.
That's great.
So she got a $100 bill. She held on to it for 2 months, and then she found the thing she wanted. She wanted a hoverboard.
I saw
And so she shopped it, and now she has a hoverboard. But, look, you can work in the family business. My son this week went bush hogging on our farm, maintaining the fire lanes and the travel lanes. He got compensated for that.
Yep. You talked about one thing, which was sell stuff. So, maybe it's something like they have old game systems and they need to get rid of it and kind of cycle into new thing, teaching them to not just let those things sit around, but to look for that. We talked on another episode about family that would go and pick stuff up at a garage sale or a consignment store and then turn around and flip it and sell it on eBay for more. So those are some ways that they can make money. If you have an older teen and they like name brand clothes, get them to part ways with it before, if they're not wearing it anymore,
before it's
out of style, and do that. And maybe that's their budget towards more clothes if they're going to do that.
And of course, we're going to rattle off the common ones.
Yes. So again, pet sitting, dog walking, but as they get older, it can also be house sitting.
Yeah.
Where it's more responsibility that they're actually going in and making sure everything's okay there. You mentioned working for a family business. Getting a part-time job, especially, we're coming to the close of summer, but sometimes in summer is a great chance for them to start doing that. It could be lifeguarding. Or
they have rhythm. They can commit to it.
Yeah. So
fast food restaurant.
Yep.
Chick-fil-A.
Summer camps are another great one. And some of those can continue on through the school year. So if they do something for fast food during the year, they can continue on after they go back to school. So those are some of the ones.
It's all about saying it teaches basic business skills, which is find a need and fulfill it, and do it in such a way that people will exchange U.S. currency for it.
Yeah.
And if you teach them that skill set, it'll be just as valuable as any class or any test they've ever had in school. Yeah. And so, of course, we want to wrap it up. But if you're going to help your kids find ways to make money, make sure you teach them how to manage it too. So teach them to do the GSI, PTR, give, save, invest, plan the rest. Make sure you teach them that. The verse that goes with this is Proverbs 22:6. And it says, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. And so I really encourage you to do that. You're teaching them to add value to their community, to others, and also how to produce income, be able to provide for themselves so that they're not always dependent upon you. It's one of the greatest skill sets you could ever give. My parents say all the time, they can't believe how many of their peers in their late 70s and 80s, like my parents are, who have their grown children in their 50s, still dependent on mom and dad for basic obligations. And you know what happened? Those parents failed to teach. They failed to train up, or the lessons were failed to be received. Yeah. And so that's really important. So tell everybody what I want to talk about next week.
Yes, so next week we're going to talk about 4 stewardship habits you can start today.
Okay, and so stewardship is kind of an old word, but a lot of people think of it as environmental stewardship, but really it's caring. How do you care for your money? And we'll talk about 4 habits that you could start next week when we share them with you. Wrap us up here.
If you like today's podcast, please help us to get this podcast to other people who would benefit from it. You can do this by quickly rating our podcast and leaving a review. These ratings and reviews will help us make our podcast better for our listeners. If you've implemented one of our tips, please share it with us. You can do so on any of our social media platforms or by emailing us at info@iwbnin.com.
Yep. My final parting words today is teach your kids that when they exchange their time, energy, and effort for value, you're teaching them a noble skill set. It is noble for them. It is noble for the people they help. And it's noble for you because you're training them so that they can be independent, resourceful individuals as adults. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.